Welcome to House Money Podcast on our NFL Week 13 show. I'm Easy E and I'm the host. Joining me today, Chalkboard.
It just seemed weird. What were we, like, into season 3? I know you had said something earlier, and, for those of if you've never heard the show before, you could probably tell that we're missing the third leg of the tripod. E did reach out to me and told me it was going to be a vegan show, as we'd be missing TBone.
I know he's had that prepared for quite some time because we found out that TBone wasn't going to be with us today at least 2 or 3 hours ago. So, Chalkboard, I'm sure you've been sitting on that.
That's 1,000%. I like to feel like T's always with us in spirit.
Oh, true that. Well, if you haven't noticed, also, we may be sounding a little bit different this week because I purchased a new computer and somehow or another we don't seem to be connecting properly. So
I didn't want to put 2 and 2 together, but I thought without T-Bone's lofty weekly salary, you were able to purchase more equipment. But so maybe we'll have to talk about that after the show.
Yeah, well, apologize for any sound issues you may be having. Hopefully, our man Z can clean it up for us on the other end. But if not, we're going to get these picks out, and we'll do what we can to represent House Money Podcast. So, Chalkboard, you ready?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Well, I guess we forgot to mention that last week, 1 and 3.
I don't think we forgot.
Well, the fact that there's no T-Bone this week, it might be better that we separate y'all for a little while.
Sometimes they say it is better to get the meat off the bone, so I don't even know what that means. 1 and 3, which was actually an improvement over the previous week. If we're, if we're splitting hairs,
we're all friends here.
It's been a strange. I think we talked about it in the preseason show. It was going to be a weird year, and it's just been tough to get a foothold. But there has been some bad beats. Last week, obviously with all the flying the silver and black proudly. That was the thing that shocked me the most, is just how bad of an egg they laid in Atlanta. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, as we get further into this week's picks. But, sometimes it just be like that.
Well, I think Vegas was due a bad game. They're just not that level of team. But let's get into this card, and then we'll talk about it. It may or may not come up. We're going to do it a little bit differently this week because there's only 2 of us. When we get to the who you like portion, we'll bat it back and forth, but we'll talk then. Right now, Sunday night, Denver we should say no Thursday night game, right? No yes. Thursday night game this week.
I guess they're doubling down on Monday, and we got a Tuesday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
There you go. All right, well, Sunday night, 8:20, Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City minus 14. The total's 51. Denver's 4-7 straight up, 6-5 against the spread. They lost 31-3 to New Orleans. They didn't have a quarterback, and really they didn't have a prayer. Ton of injuries, COVID. For me, it's just hard to put money on Denver right now.
They had so many statistical anomalies in that game. They actually had more interceptions than completed passes. Your boy completed 1 pass. I mean, it was just, and not that we want to drag the show out and everything, but it's so they do them like that, make them play with a wide receiver that was the 4th guy off the practice squad, but yet they kept pushing back this Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. I'm sure we've all seen the same conspiracy things. It's but I digress. Are you still setting that up?
Yeah, Kansas City 10-1 straight up, 6-5 against the spread. Winners at Tampa Bay 27-24. Kansas City got a big lead, only to let Brady back in. Clearly Kansas City can score at will. They rank first in total yards, passing yards, second in points scored and turnovers. They averaged 31.6 points per game, allowing only 21.6 per game. That'll win you some games for sure. But still, Chalkboard 14 is probably just too many for me. Who do you like in this game?
Well, as it's just us, because I can already feel and I know everyone listens to the show, you can hear it like T-Bone. Normally this is where he starts moaning or starts giggling. Because it's all right, so clearly Kansas City's the better team. This is the divisional game. They pretty much wrapped it up after beating the Las Vegas Raiders. But here's what I would ponder. So they were just basically whitewashed last week, didn't have a chance. So now all the quarterbacks are back. You feel to quote my boy E, you're going to get their best effort. Kansas City's going to win this game, but you're getting 2 touchdowns. I mean, can they keep it within 10? Can they, to quote our boy T, which we're going to do often throughout this show, it's going to be a fast break offense. I don't know if we're going to go on this game. Kansas City could very easily cover it, but I mean, you would almost have to entertain taking Denver in 2 touchdowns just for the fact of I almost feel like those guys that cost their team are going to kind of come back with some sort of I got something to prove type chip on the shoulder. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't lay 14. That's
blasphemy.
Yeah, and who
Come
knows?
to the chalky side. It's good.
The issue is how do we know Kansas City's even going to be interested? How do we know they're going to be interested? This could be, 24-13. And I've seen so many just turnovers and muff special teams play, and I've gotten beat so bad in every different way the last few weeks that.
Well, I'm sure we all watch like the SVP, like that segment, like the bad beats, and it's like even going back to like last week with the bad number, it's like. Cincinnati ran that kickback 104 yards. Like there's things you just can't account for. We have the stats in front of us. You have more than me, but it's like at some point a bad turnover, somebody running back a punt. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, any fluke thing in 14's
a fluke
shot.
thing in 14. I mean, like you say, I could easily see Kansas City getting out quick, 7-0, maybe even pushing up to like where they're covered, 17-0 or whatever. But it's only going to take one play, one goofy thing. I mean, you never know. I think we're going to skip that one.
Let's do it. Let's roll on to Monday night. Washington versus Pittsburgh. This number's down to Pittsburgh -8.5. Total's 44. Washington 4-7 straight up, 6-5 against the spread. Crushed Dallas on the road, 41-16. Dominated in every way. I tried to talk y'all into that last week. Their pass rush is excellent. Defense ranks in top 10 in 3 categories. Offense is still a work in progress, but McLaurin and Antonio Gibson both have been impressive. Tight end Logan Thomas has scored a few touchdowns, and honestly, Alex Smith doesn't look bad either. To me, he manages the game fairly well. Pittsburgh 11-0 straight up, 8-3 against the spread. They beat Baltimore 19-14, where they gave up a short field touchdown after a turnover and a backdoor McSorley touchdown. I mean, if I sound a little bitter, it's probably because I was laying the damn 10.
You sound a little McSorley over there.
Yeah. So, but honestly, I knew I was dead when RG3 went out. I was like, I knew that was dead.
When he ran to the sideline and started grabbing that hamstring, I was like, that's going to hurt some people.
Dude, I knew I was dead. But Pittsburgh's impressive, 11-0. You know what you're getting with them. They're the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL. The offense is okay. I'm not sure on Connor's status for the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, actually.
Yeah. The one last thing I'd mention is Pittsburgh's coming off a short week. Obviously, they played, we're recording this Thursday night, so they played less than 24 hours ago. I don't know, Chalkboard, who do you like in Washington versus Pittsburgh -8.5?
Well, I think you look at the record with Washington and, you just kind of like dismiss them. But like you say, they have not even sneaky good talent. I mean, they have good skill position players, I mean, to your point, tight end, running back, wide receiver. Alex Smith isn't going to hurt you. I think Pittsburgh, like you say, with it being such a short week and such a bizarre week, it's not like they had to dig deep to beat Baltimore. Baltimore's just kind of reeling. But I feel like Pittsburgh's almost going to have the let's get in, get out, get our win, and move on. You get 8.5 points. It would have been great at like 10 or 11, but I mean.
Well, it's interesting you say that. This opened at 11. It was bet down to 10, and then
people would have jumped all over the 11.
Well, when I seen it at 10, I went out and tried to get it at 10, and I could. For whatever reason, it wasn't up. It was like the only game that wasn't on the board. So then, as I was making the sheet preparing for the show, I seen it already dropped to 8.5, and I'm like, this game is yet to be available to me to bet, and the side that I like, it's just plummeting.
Yeah, I mean that sort of sums up the season, I believe.
No doubt.
It's like it's like looking at the spread under glass. You can look, but you can't touch.
Pretty much.
I mean. Again, this is one of these, and to quote you, I think the value's kind of gone now because it would have been nice at 11. I mean, you can still play it at the 8.5. I don't see Pittsburgh just all of a sudden coming out and just beating down Washington. I think Washington, like we talked about before we went on air, some of these teams just kind of hang around. And I mean, again, every day we talk about it, I want to quote TBone. Smells like a backdoor cover to me, man. So.
TBone getting much love, not in attendance, but getting much love tonight. I hear you. All right, well, just leave it out there. Let's continue on.
Okay.
We're going to do. We talked about earlier. We're going to do a little different format tonight, so we'll get that in a little bit. Monday night, Buffalo at San Francisco. San Francisco +1. Totals 48. Buffalo 8-3 straight up, 6-5 against the spread. They beat the Chargers 27-17 in a game that was never close. Buffalo's really inconsistent in my opinion. I never know what I'm getting with Josh Allen. The defense isn't particularly good. It seems like a bad spot, to be honest. A non-conference opponent on the other side of the country. Buffalo is winners of 4 of their last 5. But if they laid an egg here, would it really surprise anybody?
Well, and who are those 4 that they beat? Do you have that at your figure? If not, that's fine. But I mean, I'm kind of agreeing. I'm picking up what you're laying down. The only thing that would concern me is if you flip the coin, San Francisco, that was a huge win last week where they beat the Rams.
Right.
Somebody else may have been on that game last week, too.
There you go. Buffalo.
Probably wasn't the bone, though.
Buffalo has beat the Chargers, Seattle, and New England. And the Jets are in there as well, with losses to Kansas City and to Arizona.
So kind of what you might expect.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, East Coast going west. It is the Monday night game, so I mean they'll have the extra day and everything. This is just. I feel like we say this all the time. This is a tough game to call. I mean, it looks like 62% of the money's coming in on Buffalo.
So let me finish San Francisco here. San Francisco 5-6 straight up, 5-6 against the spread. Impressive winners, 23-20 over the Rams. They looked pretty good doing it too. The return of some of their weapons on offense has really helped this team, especially at wide receiver. But it's almost breathed a little bit of life back into the defense as well. They was really hitting hard in this game. But I have here, which is what brought me back to it, +1 is tough, and to me this is a hard game in my opinion.
This is a tough game to pick. I mean, I don't know that either one of us would be terribly surprised if we came back next week and Buffalo won, or if San Francisco just. I don't think either one of these teams is going to clobber each other, surely. And like you say, Allen is just very inconsistent. I mean, San Francisco's getting healthier by the week. They got Mostert back. We probably won't see Kittle again, but it's like Mullins isn't actually bad. I don't know. If you made me, I would probably take San Francisco just because they're in California. They've looked better here recently.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They're not in California.
Oh, that's right. They're not in Santa Clara.
They're in Arizona.
That's right.
So I wonder how that's going to affect San Francisco's play going forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually we'd have to have like one of our statisticians look into this, but this is like a true road game for both teams.
It really is.
When
there was no fans.
The Minneapolis dome collapsed with the snow or whatever, they were still playing at least in Minnesota. I mean, this is a different state.
Yeah, crazy.
I think in that case, because of the whole thing, I'm going to try to tie this. It's going to be real slippery. We're getting close to Christmas. So at this point, I'm going to have to Santa Clara this as a no pick. Sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
I can't do it. Tuesday night.
A for effort, you say.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Dallas versus Baltimore. Baltimore -7. For whatever reason, the total's off the board. Dallas 3-8 straight up, 2-9 against the spread. The losers to Washington, 41-16. Season's over for Dallas, right?
Mathematically, yeah.
Well, not really.
Well, no, because of the division.
Yeah, because I say that, but really they're only one game back in their division.
No, I was thinking they weren't in the NFC East, so yeah.
But they've quit though. They've quit, right?
Well, there was talk about McCarthy already losing the locker room, and there's just all this contention everywhere, and people are just. I don't know. I mean, obviously you lost Dak early, but Red Rifle comes in, looks serviceable. You still got talent around him. People are kind of turning on Zeke. I've already seen things like who they're going to offer up to free up cap money. Now they're talking some of the locker room wants to get rid of Zeke, some of the locker room wants to get rid of Amari. So it's it does seem like they've sort of turned on themselves. So if you want to call that quitting, that's to me, with both these teams right now, how do you really bet either one of these teams with confidence?
So on that note, Baltimore 6-5 straight up.
Your pin down.
5-6 against the spread. Excuse me. Losers to Pittsburgh 19-14. The defense played tough. Offense not so much. Honestly, give me McSorley over RG3. But who knows we'll be playing by then.
Well, I was going to say, because Lamar was out because he tested. but because of the way the week thing, they gave him a few extra days. I thought he would be back for this game, right?
Well, back to your conspiracy theory, the fact that they pushed this off to next Tuesday,
Right.
Lamar could be back, and my next sentence, too much uncertainty here for me.
You mean the guy who's probably on the cover of Madden and the rating MVP? It's like, so you can see where, and this is a conspiracy. This is just in front of everybody's face. I mean, some teams are bending over a little bit more for than others. But with that said, I mean, Baltimore hasn't been setting the world on fire. Baltimore still has more to play for. So Baltimore's going to win the game. We're saying it's live at 7. I don't know, man. I mean,
again, if McSorley was my quarterback, I might take Baltimore here.
you like McSorley clearly over RG3, but you like him over Lamar too. Lamar's just seemed disconnected somehow.
Well, no, I mean, that'd be crazy. I mean, Lamar just almost took him to the Super Bowl.
I think this line is set up with Lamar playing.
At -7, I would probably agree with that.
Every week you come in and you look at the numbers, you look at the teams, and you're like, Dallas has all. I think somebody told me before, a lot of weapons, not a lot of wins.
Exactly.
And it's
all right. Well, hey, I don't know if we're taking that game or not. Let's move on to the next portion, and then we'll.
Let's make a mental note of all these games are in some form or fashion on some sort of burner.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not off the table.
No.
They're not really simmering either.
Exactly. So what we thought we'd do this week for the who you like portion is we would go. Maybe just you and I both pick 3 games.
Okay.
And you throw out 3 winners, and I'll throw out 3 winners. And how about we just kind of bat them back and forth? And you tell me who you like, and I'll tell you who I like. I'll even let you go first, sir. Throw me out a winner. What game you like? What game you looking at?
Well, let's see. What do you feel like about? All right. What do you think about New Orleans at Atlanta?
All right. First pick.
Doesn't seem like a chalky pick.
New Orleans at Atlanta. Atlanta +3. Opened at 3.5. It's been bet down to 3. Interesting to me on this game, the total opened at 47.5, and the actual total's gone down to 45.5. And in a New Orleans-Atlanta game, I don't think you see that very often. 57% of the money coming in on New Orleans chalkboard. Who do you like, New Orleans at Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta looked pretty good. I don't know why. It's still ringing in my ears. Oh, it could have been because my boys played there last week and just got housed. But the crazy thing about New Orleans is, although they continue to win, Taysom Hill has not thrown a touchdown. I think he's ran for 4 or 5 as Breeze has been out. But it's almost like they're running some sort of NFL Wildcat type thing with the guy. I mean, if Matt Ryan can do anything in this game, I feel like there would, what's New Orleans going to do if they get behind and they have to pass, is my question.
Well, they're going to be in trouble. But my question is, so these 2 teams played on November 22nd, and New Orleans beat them 24-9. Was that the game that Breeze got hurt, or, I mean, who was their quarterback in that game?
Man, this is where we're missing T. He's kind of like a good on that kind of information.
Hold on.
It very well could have been. I know they just recently played, but was that the game where he actually got hurt? I mean, I'll lead off with that Atlanta rhetoric or whatever, but
Hill was the quarterback. I don't
that
know
game?
why I keep leaning into this microphone. We apologize, ladies and gentlemen, if the sound quality isn't as good today as it normally is.
The thing about New Orleans is you still have Michael Thomas who hasn't caught a touchdown. You still got all-world Kamara. You got Cook as tight end. I mean, they got their own weapons too. I mean, there's not going to be any concern about weather. They're playing in the dome. I mean, it's all things equal. I mean, Atlanta lets in 3,000 people or something.
So you mean to tell me, just let me see if I got this straight. With Chalkboard's first pick of the week, he's taking the dog, Atlanta Falcons +3. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I feel like since there's only 2 of us, I wanted to keep it friendly at the table.
Oh, don't do it for me, Doc. Don't do it for me. Take who you want.
I'm doing it for the listeners. Because I feel like, they got, I mean, there's a little bit Uncle Mo going on here. You get points, you're playing at home. Somebody told me a long time ago, look for a dog that could win playing, and at home as a bonus.
All right, let's call it. Chalkboard, official Chalkboard play of the week.
The Dirty Birds.
The first Atlanta +3 chalkboard play of the week. All right.
T-Bone, forgive me.
Good luck to you, sir. Not the direction I thought you would go.
When I started my spiel, I think I was going in a different direction until I started looking at some of these stats over here.
All right. So in my first game, first one I'd like to throw out here at you, I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams at Arizona +3.
Okay. Good game.
The Rams are 7-4 straight up, 6-5 against the spread. Arizona 6-5 straight up, 5-6 against the spread. Excuse me. To me here, this is a buy low, sell high with Arizona. Arizona comes off 2 road losses to Seattle and New England. Murray comes back home with a chance to get healthy. He looked bad, honestly.
He looked off, and I think they said something, maybe a rotator cuff or something. There's something that's not quite right with the kid.
It was shoulder. It was definitely shoulder. I don't know, like you said, if it was rotator cuff or what it was, but it was definitely shoulder. I have right here. I believe it's a shoulder he's having issues with. But I think he gets better here. I think he gets better. And, getting the 3 at home, I think, is a good number. To me, if the Rams were to play, the number would probably be 3.5, right?
Yeah.
The Rams are off a loss as well at home to San Francisco. But I think this division is just too evenly matched for any of these teams to be laying a field goal on the road. So I'm going to take Arizona.
Well, this is a do-or-die game for Arizona.
Exactly.
I mean, they need to protect what they've got left with the home field advantage in the division. So, I mean, everybody who plays every Sunday wants to win. But like you say, you can judge degrees of intensity or desperation is what I was trying to get at.
Like you said a minute ago, a best effort game. We're getting Arizona's best effort, and maybe the last couple of weeks where Murray's been hesitant to get outside the pocket and run for the ball.
It all makes sense because, at the beginning of the season, he's winging the ball. Him and Hopkins look like they've been teammates forever, and it's like it seems almost like the offensive game plan has been somewhat curtailed, and now you can kind of be like, aha, well, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. Of course, he runs like a maniac, so you can sort of cover some of that up. Shades of Lamar from last year.
Right on. All right, so with my first pick, I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals +3. Chalkboard. Pick number 2, sir. Who you like?
All right, I feel like I want to take off like my Scooby mask now. I'll be like, all right, now Chalk's back. I don't know what the other guy was talking about with this dog. All right, man. Springboarding off of like the Dirty Birds in Atlanta. Last week's opponent was the Raiders. So, what do you think about Vegas and the Jets?
Las Vegas at the New York Jets. The New York Jets +9. It opened at 8, been bet up to 9. Totals 47. 77% of the money coming in on Vegas. You're going to lay more than a touchdown on the road. Woo! Go ahead, chalkboard. Lay it on me.
Last year, the Jets beat them by like 30 points. It was like this time of year, it was kind of getting cold and everything, and it was like, I don't know. But regardless, the same scenario, but really at that point, the Raiders had nothing to play for. They laid an egg in Atlanta. They have to atone for that. And I'm sure what you're going to argue is they can still atone for that and win this game by 3 points. This they have to win by double digits. The thing that kind of concerns me about this is Jacobs is a little banged up. So is it going to be like Booker? I mean, because I think Carr's better with like a heavy run game, and I don't know how much if Booker can like handle a whole load. So I guess I was just wanting to see if your eyes were going to light up and you're like, oh yeah, man, the Raiders get right in a big way. But I'm not feel like I'm really getting the vibe from you like I thought. So
no,
what if I turn my piece of paper upside down? My 9 is a 6.
Okay, so here, this is where I'm at on this. Honestly, I liked when it was 8.5. I like the idea of teasing the Raiders down to 2.5 because I do think that I cannot see the Raiders losing to the Jets on the road. Okay, but the fact that the Jets are at home, they've played some relatively close games lately. They don't look like they're completely inept. I hate giving up more than a touchdown with a team who would be happy to get out with a win at this point in time.
And I can't argue any of those points.
On the other side of the country, right? On the other side of the country. So I was happy when I could tease it down to 2.5. Again, I didn't get to the number quick enough. It was at 9. I wasn't teasing them down to 3 because that doesn't make sense to me mathematically. So it's a no play for me.
Someone has talked to me before about crossing over a value line.
Exactly. So it was a no play for me. But if you would like to make that your official.
No, it was more of just kind of a throwing it out to the room. So I was curious.
Okay. All right. Well, you must sit on that.
I think it's one of those because, because Atlanta hammered them and I just took them, I felt like I owed it to, all of our fans across the country, but specifically my silver and black brethren who I hear from often. So
there you go. All right. Well, I'm prepared to pitch my second game if you're ready.
You know what? I got my catcher's mitt on.
All right. So this to me, I feel like I'm going against the number here, going against the money here, but, I guess that happens.
It happens sometimes on that side of the table.
Yeah. New England 5-6 straight up. 5-6 against the spread, beat Arizona 20-17. Now they go on the road to the Los Angeles Chargers, 3-8 straight up, 5-6 against the spread. They lost to Buffalo 27-17. But, in classic, you have to bet on bad teams to make money. Give me the Los Angeles Chargers here. I think the first thing that you're going to say is the coaching mismatch here is off the chart.
Well, the thing that glares out is Belichick against rookie quarterbacks and his ridiculous record. But,
have you seen Cam Newton try to throw a football?
Cam Newton's a heck of a dresser. That's my rebuttal to that statement.
There's
some days that it's like just a flopping duck.
At some point in time, Los Angeles Chargers have the better quarterback. They have the better running back.
Eckler's back.
They have the better wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, Herbert and Allen have made like a pretty lethal combination.
So they are better at every skill position. If I look up the two defenses and compare them right here, I bet you the defense is even better for the Chargers.
Statistically, it's going to be close and probably to the side of Los Angeles. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So the Chargers are better in every facet of the game, except Bill Belichick. And I think, which is why this is a pick, right? Which is why this man gets so much credit. Which is why it opened at 2.5 and so much money has come in on New England.
It's crazy, like you say, that a coach could have that much influence on the game.
Right.
Because last time I saw, there's not a guy in a hoodie with short sleeves on the field.
No.
He's on the field, but he ain't inside the lines.
But, the Chargers have found every way possible to lose this season.
Oh, yeah. So to your point, with this being, basically a pick 'em game, it's like, so they're going to get right and find a way to win the game.
This is a strictly a bet against Cam Newton. You cannot continue to win football games and pass for less than 100 yards. That's just not.
It makes sense. Like I say, I feel like, you wouldn't think much about it, but they've still got Damian Harris and James White, but it's like Burkhead's out now. He'd actually been playing pretty well for him here lately, so they got a couple issues themselves. And I think we've always talked about that, New England's defense is very opportunistic. So things sort of have to go their way. So, I'd be on the Chargers.
Yeah, I just don't. I think the better quarterback, better wide receiver, better running back. New England's not nearly as good as the win over Arizona suggests. I think that was more that Murray was hurt versus New England being good. To me, they're not flying across the country with that offense and winning this game.
We got a lot of cross-country games this week. I don't think I realized it until you said something about it over there, Delta.
So on that note, I will take as my second pick this week, at a pick, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the New England Patriots. Chargers at a pick. All right, chalkboard. I got 2 plays in. You got 1. Throw something out there.
In loving memory of TBone, what do you think about the Giants in Seattle?
Oh, my gosh, dude. You're not really going to hear. The New York Giants at Seattle. Seattle -10. Opened at -7.5. Bet all the way up to 10. 67% of the money coming in on Seattle, obviously driving that number all the way up. I think if you really, really like Seattle, you have to get them. You had to get them at 7.5. Talk about all the value gone. Especially Pete Carroll has talked about going back to Seattle football, which is we always associated with running the ball,
right,
and Marshawn Lynch, which doesn't lead to covering double-digit spreads.
Well, I think the thought here, and they have been, because they were talking about all this campaign got out of control with like let Russ cook and all this stuff, 4 or 5 touchdowns a game. And like you say, as the weather changes, we're getting into Seattle, ground and pound, Chris Carson's back. My thing is more on the other side because it's going to be Colt McCoy. And Colt McCoy looked like he came straight out of mothballs. I mean, I was trying to appeal to your Cam Newton philosophy of like, because Seattle can still score. I know it's 10 points. And to what you said earlier, the value is probably gone at -10, but I feel like this could just be a one-sided affair. I feel like this could be 21-10. I feel like it could be 28-17. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like that, and we've said before, crazy things happen, turnovers. I don't know who really returns kick for the Giants, but I mean, you're talking no quarterback. They haven't had a running back forever. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Seattle doesn't get near enough love on this show. So, dude, if that's what you want to make your second pick, you feel free. Fire away. Are you prepared?
I'm prepared just for my fallen brethren who's not here.
All right, chalkboard, official play number 2.
I can't quit you, Russ. The Seahawks.
Seattle -10 in true chalkboard fashion.
Now the world just seems more on kilter.
You feel better now? All right. Well, with my third pick, I hate that I have to give up this bad number because I should have gotten it at double digits. But I'm going back to the Washington football team, and I'll take that 8.5. And I don't know. I don't think Pittsburgh offense looks great. I'm hoping Connor doesn't play.
Who's the kid? You fear? Oh, Benny Snell.
Yeah, Benny Snell. But he didn't look terrible the other day. But he doesn't have breakaway speed. He can't get through a hole.
Right, and I think to your point, we talked about this, and of the games we covered at the beginning, I think Washington and the points is probably the strongest play of those 4.
Yeah, so with my third pick, I am going to take the Washington football team plus the 8.5.
Now, look, at some point, I'm going to have to come face-to-face with TBone again. Is that 3 dogs?
For me?
No, of the picks.
No. I've taken 3 picks. I've taken Arizona +3, the Chargers at a pick. And
so these weren't
Washington
the official house money picks.
No, these were my Easy E picks. Your picks
okay.
is Atlanta +3, Seattle -10. This is just me versus you this week. You're going to throw out 3. I'm going to throw out 3. And then, well,
you know what? I apologize. I blame the pre-production staff. The one girl gave me my Evian water, but I didn't really know what she was talking about. So my apologies, Melody.
Well, dude. So on that note, we're in a good spot, honestly, because that only means you got to pick one more game. You've got Atlanta +3, Seattle -10. So give me out your one more chalkboard winner right now. Who you got? Just pitch it out. Are you looking at Cincinnati +11.5? I don't blame you, dude. I would be too. I mean, Miami can't score. They're not the same Miami team that we all grew to love on this show.
You know what they should have been? They should have been Tua versus Burrow, but we get none of that now. No soup for you.
No.
I'm trying to look at because I really, although it would be completely chalky for me to take 2 double-digit favorites. I feel like
I really don't know what you're waiting for.
I would just tickle your fancy. All right, just because it's a good game. Indy and Houston.
All right. Indianapolis at Houston. Houston +3.5. Opened at 3.5, still +3.5. 61% of the money coming in on Indianapolis. Chalkboard, who you like in this game?
Because of recent events, I feel like you keep taking away more and more toys away from Watson, and the way that the Colts are just all over the place, erratic, if you will. I would have to be on the Colts in this game. He has no Will Fuller. Hopkins, we know, is gone. You got Cooks. Cobb's out. I feel like that Indy has been kind of like just embarrassed here a couple times. I feel like Indy's going to win this game.
So, this to me is the same strategy that I took with the Arizona pick.
Right.
That if Houston was the play, this is 3. And if Indy's the play, it's 3.5. So it's sitting at 3.5. I think I have to agree with your logic. I think Indy is probably the play.
Yes.
That doesn't mean it's a winner, but okay. So you want to make that your third pick of the week? Indy minus 3.5.
That is correct.
I got you down, sir. Official.
Really? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Official chalkboard play number 3 of the week. The Colts minus 3.5.
Obviously, it would be like, poking myself in the eye if it was like the Colts, or if it was Indianapolis minus 4.5. But then I could have thrown something out there chalky like Colt 45.
What? I'm not even sure I got all that. Okay, hey, dude, look. So I know we've already made our plays and everything, but just give me your opinion real quick, because this game fascinates me, to be honest with you. Cleveland at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And even though our sheet right here shows 5.5, I'm looking over here, the live line, it's been bet back up to 6. So at Cleveland minus 6, who do you like?
Well, before we went on air, I don't know if we should talk about this now or.
No, go ahead. No, let's not spoil that soup. So what chalkboard's referring to, ladies and gentlemen, is TBone has sent in his choice cut of the week, and he sent it to chalkboard, and chalkboard already knows it, and he's going to spoil that surprise later. So you just want to not touch it for right now?
Well, I mean, we could talk about it because we talk about games all the time, and then T-Bone blurts out who he likes or whatever. So you're saying it's gone from 5.5 to 6 while we've been in studio?
Well, I say that I'm looking at it back now. It's back to 5.5. Tennessee minus 5.5.
I heard it was in the computer. So.
Yeah, 72% of the money coming in on Tennessee.
They're both 8-3.
Both 8-3.
Tennessee, you just don't. I mean, for them to go back to Baltimore, just beat them. The games that they win, and then the games they lose, it's like a head scratcher. Cleveland, you almost feel like, how do they have the 8 wins? And with Tennessee, you're almost when they play good, it's like how they have the 3 losses. And I'm probably somewhat influenced by T-Bone's pick, therefore telling me that you like the Browns plus the points because it's a table divided.
I do like the Browns. I mean, the Browns' rushing attack is amazing. They got the best 2 running backs. They can
this
limit
is
possessions.
The 2 best rushing teams in football.
Certainly, and Cleveland's getting their best player back this week. Your boy on the line. Is it Morris?
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. I apologize. Like I say, this is normally when T-Bone throws in somebody tells you where he went to college. But yeah, that makes a huge difference. And like you say, they're able to rotate, Chubb and Hunt. I mean, basically, once you go past Henry, you got the 2 receivers. You got Brown and you got.
It's 6 points. I just feel like there's no respect. Let me tell you what else worries me about this, though, to be honest with you. I asked a Cleveland fan yesterday what he thought about it and what he thought about the line, and he was scared. He was shaking in his boots. He wanted no part of it. He thought Tennessee was going to smoke them. And if you can't even get a Cleveland fan to take your team, I mean.
Let me just glance at something. I got a couple of sites pulled up at the same time. The majority, I try to, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. There's a little bit of studying, but it's I try to, there's certain people who I listen to, certain people I don't. I don't know. People look to be pretty much Tennessee across the board. I'm basically seeing maybe 6-2 on just some of these things I'm just kind of looking at, and some of them do have it actually being double digits. And the ones that actually have the Browns winning field goal. I mean, obviously, you get the point, so whatever. It's basically people are almost either Tennessee's going to run away with this game or the Browns are going to sneak it out on a kick or something. So
I don't know.
It's a gut feeling game.
All right. Well, I was just curious. We got our picks, so we're already in there. Crystal ball predictions. Chalkboard. Last week, Jarvis Landry touchdown, wide receiver Cleveland. How'd he do?
Scored. I believe the chalkboard is something like 3 out of the last 4. It's pretty much on fire. And I've noticed this over the 3 seasons. It seems like sometimes when the show valleys a little bit, the chalk ball rises, and vice versa.
Chalk ball.
Dang on it, the crystal ball chalkboard prediction. I need to get these things like tuned into like each other. It would be like as if we had working microphones.
Exactly.
So yes, the chalkboard is somewhat. The crystal ball, dag on it, is somewhat red hot. He got in the end zone, scored his first touchdown. I'm going that way this week again with a youngster who has not scored yet, but I feel like he may touch pay dirt this week.
Okay.
Going to a game we talked about. I'm going to give you the name. We'll just play a game for a second. You can see if you can tell me who he plays for. The answer is going to be no. Denzel Mims.
No.
He is the third receiver on the vaunted Jets offense. But what's been happening here lately is they've kind of gotten away from Crowder. They've been going to Bernard Perryman and this guy who's like their speedster guy that they took in the draft. Rookie receiver. They're playing the Raiders. I still think the Raiders are going to win this game, but they are susceptible to giving up a big play. I think this guy's at a good spot to get a touchdown. He's been getting like 7 and 8 targets the last couple weeks. I think they'll take a shot with him. If he catches it, he may be able to break away. Raiders still win the game, but Mims gets in the end zone.
Well, I did see, I tell you why I like this pick. I did see where Perryman is doubtful. So you would think this would have a few more targets for him. Yep, a few more targets for him. There you go.
Denzel Mims.
Denzel Mims, I got you. Nice pick. All right, so TBone choice cut. Last week he had Seattle minus the 5. TBone gets the favorable number there with Seattle. 5-7 on the year. Does he have a pick? No pick? What did he send us, Chalk?
TBone texted in a pick. Actually, he wrote a letter in cursive and mailed it to me 2 weeks ago. I got it today as I was coming up the driveway. TBone, much to your surprise, was on the Titans.
Really?
Cleveland, Tennessee. I told him because he thought that the line was still hovering around at 3.5, and I was like, "No, man, it's actually up to 5.5." He said some choice words as he does on the show, but he's like, "You know what? To heck with it. The choice cut is due." He said he was all in on the Titans.
He must have looked at that Sunday night or so, because it's not been 3.5 in a long. I seen 6. He's lucky he doesn't have to lay the 6.
You know, it would be awesome, like on air for us to get him on the phone and be like, "Hey, man, we're giving you the Titans, but now it's at 6.5." Just to hear like a total meltdown. But I don't know if like Z's got that kind of time to like blurt out that many curse words on air. So.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, well, Tennessee minus 5.5. TBone choice cut. There you go. Please subscribe to us on YouTube or iTunes, SoundCloud, however you listen to the show. We're on Twitter at HouseMoneyPod. Chalkboard.
Chalkboard can still be found at Chalkboard, CHALKBORED_HM.
Nice job. You don't even have to reference anything anymore either, dude. You just can roll that right off. Oh, shit.
Don't be giving away all the secrets to the soup.
For those of you not watching on YouTube, my man here has it written down on his piece of paper so he doesn't forget it.
No, these are some notes about a game, about some receiving yards.
I hear you, dog. All right. Please rate and review. As always, shout out to our executive producer, Z-Man, holding it down at House Money Podcast headquarters. Chalkboard. Hopefully we'll have our boy TBone back next week.
I feel like Z will be earning his money this week, putting the pretty on this.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, I was thinking maybe we could reach out to Z and maybe he could have taken T-Bone's place.
You know what? That would actually be surprising. Bringing like maybe like even a different demographic and audience or whatever. Z's got his own crowd.
Well, I tell you what, if T-Bone has another issue, we might have a guest speaker one week for the first time. 3 seasons and 13 episodes. Never any another voice.
I was thinking about this because this is week 13.
Yep.
So, but so we always do the 17 and we always do like the whatever. So I believe, are we recording the 50th show? Because, it's generally...
Would be 17 and, well, you have to include the preseason show.
Right.
So it's 18 and 18 would be 36. If this is week 13, including the preseason show, this is episode 50, House Money Podcast.
The big 5-0. There you go.
Nice job. T-Bone didn't get to be a part of it. All right.
Well, back to your point. If we had to bring in our boy, I feel like we should like morph them and he could be like Z-Bone. I know we just were at the bell on the 50, but
Damn, dude. All right. On that note, well, I'm glad we went ahead and produced the show today, even if TBone wasn't able to be a part of it. He was here in spirit for sure. Just to cover it one more time, we got Atlanta. Chalkboard's got Atlanta plus the 3, Seattle minus 10, Indy minus 3.5. Easy's got Arizona plus the 3. I just went third person. Los Angeles Chargers at a pick, and Washington plus the 8.5.
It wasn't that you went in third person; it's that you did it so easily.
No doubt. On that note, we appreciate y'all very much. Thank you for listening this week. We're House Money Podcast. We're out.